Hi, hello, how are you? And welcome to the third video in this build slash create a sim series. So if you have missed out, the first video, this is the third video in a 3 video series. The first video was building the exterior of this little cottage home, little in quotes. The second video was a create a sim where I introduced you to the family, the Cooper family that lives in this home. And this is the third and last video where I am doing the interior of the home and furnishing it and everything. So without further ado, let's jump right in. So, um, if you watched the first video, then you know that I I don't know if I want to say I went through a lot of trial and error with the exterior. There was a lot going on just figuring out how much space this house took up generally, especially because it doesn't look small on the outside, but it looks I think smaller on the outside than the inside actually is. The inside's pretty open and pretty big, and that gives me some issues floor plan wise because I just had certain things I wanted to include, especially knowing even before I created the family that was going to live in this house that it was going to be a big family. And by big, I don't mean 8 sims. It's a 5 sim household, but I you could definitely fit more sims in this because I the way I sectioned out the house, you have a living room that's like an actual living room, like a formal kind of living room. There's no TV or anything in there. And then there's a family room that has a TV and a bunch of toys and is a smaller room with a couch and entertainment stuff in it that could definitely be another bedroom if it needed to be. Um, and the actual like formal living room with the fireplace and everything is pretty massive. That was one of the hardest areas for me to furnish because it was so big. Um, which is my fault, obviously, but that could be used for more space for different things. And there's also a laundry room in this house that could, if you don't have laundry day stuff, that would absolutely be the perfect place for a small bedroom or something. Um, why am I telling you how to change my build? Because the whole reason I build is to show you what I do with my Sims and give you a jumping off point to do things with your Sims. So I am happy to see people edit my builds and do things with them. And if you do, I absolutely want to see it. So if you download this house or any of my other houses from the gallery, then and change them, or even if you use them, like send me screenshots on Twitter or Instagram or something. I want to see your Sims in my houses. I want to see how you change them. But let's talk about what I did for my Sims for now, just because that's what we have to work with. Um, so I did what I did with this house, I kind of bounced around a lot, doing kind of the basics of various rooms and then cluttering more at the end. Especially because at the beginning, I wasn't sure who was going to live in this house. I knew that I wanted it to have kind of this like I said in the first video, with the exterior of this house, it was based on a floor plan slash like architectural plan for a house from Southern Living magazine or something. And so I was like, okay, we're leaning hard into that Southern living aesthetic. And I don't know about any of you, but my grandmother was subscribed for like my entire childhood to Southern Living magazines. Like she had stacks of those magazines. So I have that aesthetic and that style and like just pictures from that magazine ingrained, like etched into my brain. And so that was the style I wanted to go for in this house. And as I started to think about, like, conceptualize the Cooper family as I furnished the rooms, especially when I got to the kids' rooms and things, I really solidified that. I think it comes through the most in the master bedroom because even though it was the first room I did, it was the one that I was thinking most of that magazine style for. And so you have quilts and dark woods and things and mirrors over the side tables, and obviously all of those things can like exist in different styles. Like you could do a modern thing with dressers for side tables and mirrors over them and things, but I think it's just the whole mood of it that really gets it. And then something else that you'll notice throughout this is that I actually went into the gallery and downloaded people's, and you can see it come in, probably the gallery popping in and out. I downloaded various people's like custom paintings where they take CC usually and then they have their Sims paint them so that you can then have those custom paintings without having CC. And so I've got a lot of those, a lot of floral paintings, and I've scattered them throughout the house because to me, nothing screams Southern living more than just excessive classical looking floral motifs. There are also a lot of black and white photos in this house. So the photos, as you saw, I placed a massive wall of photos that someone uploaded to the gallery. They're all black and white and in wooden frames, and they're beautiful. They have nothing to do. They're not the family I put in this house, and I assume, I mean, they're not the family you put in this house if unless you're the person that uploaded that wall to the gallery. My rationale placing them all over the place was that they were photos from a previous generation of the family. So I don't, again, going back to my grandmother, she had photos all over her house for a long time of just people that like hadn't existed for quite a long time. Which is like a horrible way to say that, isn't it? Um, but just like her parents and their parents and cousins and people like people that never had lived or probably even been in her house. And so I was like, this can be that. This can be that. And also there are a lot of pictures of like this one particular lady sim, and I was like, okay, we'll pretend that she's the grandmother, because in the Cooper family that lives here, you have Caitlin and her husband Brad, yes, Brad, and their two children, Marissa and Lex, and then Caitlin's father, George. But Caitlin's mother isn't around anymore, which makes it sound like she just left, but she's dead. And so I was like, we can pretend that these are pictures of George's wife when she was young. And I say George's wife because I didn't come up with a name for her, but it could be anything. Leave a comment down below what George's wife's name should be in the lore for my save. Um, but so yeah, and I felt like that really added to this like super, like it's definitely a family home and really added that aesthetic. And also I think that having those like quote unquote custom paintings in the build really helped when it came to decorating the kids' room, specifically Lex's room. I went all out with Lex's room because I was like, there's no way he is not just spoiled rotten because he's the baby. Um, and just so impressionable. And it really worked out because once I made the family and I put them in the house, at least in the last video where I did the creative sim, Caitlin is like always paying attention to Lex, and George is always checking on Lex. Caitlin is like flashcarding the kid to death, like it's time to learn. It's time to learn new words, kid. Always. Like she's always, and it's always word specifically. She's always teaching him word flashcards. Always. And I don't know why. And then George is just worried about the kid's well being always. So I'm glad I gave him a room that really indicated this spoiled toddler. I also had a lot of fun making the family room because I just cluttered it, and it didn't. When I made it, I was like, okay, this room doesn't really have to follow the rules, like quote unquote rules that I had set for myself for the style of this home. Like, there's still obviously it matches the rest of the house, but it's a lot more playful and a lot more colorful and kind of free because there's bins of toys everywhere, and then there's big walls of the bookshelves that have toys and things, and the rug is all colorful. And I imagine that Caitlin's reasoning for buying a colorful rug was like, the kids are gonna make a mess, so we'll just add to the pattern. um and just kind of, I don't know, just filled in the space. I that The family room is probably my favorite room in the house, just because it's just fun. It just brings me joy to look at it. The upstairs was tricky because it's so small, and I played a lot with which windows, particularly in George's suite, were just decorative windows that you could see from the outside but could not actually access from the inside of the house versus ones that you could, and things like that. Because all those little outlets that I made to add the windows made the room a really awkward shape. It ended up working out. I think I blocked off one or two, but I used one to give him a little bathroom, and then he has like a nook for his bed and things. I built this house before Tiny Living came out, and I'm kind of sad that I did because I think a Murphy bed would have been really cool for George's room. Although the really hyper modern style, like contemporary and thing of the Tiny Living stuff doesn't really match what I see as George's aesthetic. So I guess I probably wouldn't have used it anyway, but I think a Murphy bed would have been a really cool look for this, and I might have arranged his suite differently because I gave him a little mini living room with like a box TV, and like I mentioned in the last video, he kind of tinkers and stuff now, so he has a little woodworking area and like a place where I imagine, I think it's the bulletin board from Parenthood, not I don't remember if it's from Parenthood, but anyway, it has all kinds of cute family things on it. And I was like, these are all things that like the kids make for him, just family related things. I feel like George is a really sentimental guy, and that's why he collects things. Like, he has a massive bookshelf full of stuff and just various things. Like, he has so many interests. He plays the guitar, he likes art, he does woodworking, and he's just like anything his grandchildren are interested in, he's interested in. But that's really the house. And then I did a patio area, just kind of, I almost forgot the patio area. I almost finished it, like, quote unquote, finished this house and just had like a blank, massive porch on the back of it. And I was like, oh, wait, the balcony area. Because I was going to do a fire pit thing. I thought that was like really like bougie for this family. But I ended up doing just a seating area because by this point I had solidified who the family was in my brain. And I was like, yeah, Caitlin's always in everybody's business and she will have the neighbors over all the time. Like, no matter what, at all costs, the neighbors will be invited over at least once a week or something's wrong. So I made sure there was a lot of seating and like a lot of family space. And I put like a bucket of water balloons out and things like that and a grill. But overall, this is just like a family home. It's just really cute. And if I don't know, just looking at it, I'm like, I could 100% see this house on the cover of Southern Living magazine. I mean, obviously, because that's where the building plans came from. But I had a lot of fun building this house, and I am kind of glad. Let me know if you like that I broke it up like this, not only like the inside and outside of the house, because that's something I've done before, is split builds into multiple videos, but also interrupt that splitting with showing you who lives in that house and on the lot and that kind of thing. Let me know if you want to see more of that in the future. The screenshots are rolling through, so I'm going to let you go. This house is, of course, available on the gallery. My gallery link is down below. There is no CC in this house. Custom paintings don't count. They're on the gallery, so they will work for you. Just make sure, as always, move objects is on so things don't start jumping into walls and stuff. But anyway, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification if you're feeling snazzy, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!